We have to redo. What's on redo? I think we discussed this, didn't we? What we discussed, the LAPC grants that we have to redo some. Did I tell you about that? I think you mentioned it, yes. It's on my agenda, right? It's. Don't worry, I'll talk about them, so. Perfect.
So when PG.
After this meeting, when they are confirmed with our rosters, we'll probably have a couple more. Until the June meeting, because they're getting new emails.
Okay, so is that LAPG or LAPC you're talking?
PC. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Andy coming, do you know, Kelsey?
He said he was. I don't know if he's physically coming or getting on the phone.
Are we missing anyone today?
I am going through great. I think something was wrong with all of these. Well, at the meeting here. And I told her, I think there's something. You're never all here. No. I mean, I could leave. You have my little note card thing?
Yeah, she needs her little thing.
Did you go get the binder?
It's right.
Yeah, it's right there. Oh, sorry, jeez.
Yeah, I don't see Andy in the hallway yet. Yeah, well, he's got 3 minutes.
You're not told Whitney yet, or Janae? Looked in my ear. Did you hear? Oh, he's online.
I'm using the code.
To keep it straight. So far we are missing Whitney, Janae, and Andy, but they all said that they were gonna be on the call.
Okay. We don't have your
Today's Janae, so we have Janae.
but possible that.
Are you moving to Alaska?
No, I'm just going to spend some.
We'll have to do. It's filtered, so.
Oh, no, we've been dispersed.
Dustin, Doug, Dave.
I'm gonna check the hallway again for Andy. Just in case. Andy's home.
No, I was talking to him. And then. Who else was it? Oh, possibly Janae. Possibly, I'm not sure on hers. On the board. Janae, quick question for you. Do you know if you're listed on the LAPC roster for your county?
Should be, but I don't know if they added me this last time or not.
Do you remind me, what county are you?
Grant County.
Thank you. Let's make it confusing.
Yeah.
There he is.
That's the other thing. I didn't have to be years.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Red's gonna move his six.
Oh, there's another table back for you too.
Oh, I, well, be up there.
Yeah.
Your old man. Just a second, wait.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead here and get started.
There we go.
Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead here and get started this morning. Introductions, first item. We will start with those online. I'll just look at the screen here. Dave, do you want to introduce yourself?
Morning, everybody. Dave Ackerman, McPherson County Sheriff.
Thank you. Jason?
Morning, Jason Humphrey, peer region engineer for the DOT.
Thank you. Janae?
Janae Tassenson. I'm the EHS specialist at Poet Biorefining in Big Stone City, South Dakota.
Thank you. Whitney?
Good morning, Whitney Luchtmeyer, Director of Public Health Preparedness for the South Dakota Department of Health.
Thank you. Dustin?
Good morning, Dustin Willett, Rapid City, Pennington County Emergency Manager.
And Doug?
Hello, Doug Hinkle, South Dakota State Fire Marshal's Office, State Fire Marshal.
Right, and Aaron?
Erin Joyce, I'm an emergency planner for EPA Region 8. Thanks.
Great. Mike Murphy?
Yeah, Mike Murphy, South Dakota Office of Homeland Security Regional Hazmat Teams.
Thank you. In the room, Kelsey?
Kelsey Noling, South Dakota Department of Ag and Natural Resources.
Go ahead.
Sean Kruger, South Dakota DA.
Trish Kent, South Dakota Department of Ag and Natural Resources.
Tina Titsi, Chair, South Dakota Office of Emergency Management Director.
Brett Howard, HMEP program, Office of Emergency Management here.
Andrew Canham with industry.
And Stephanie?
Stephanie Silvernagle with DA.
Perfect, thank you. Did I miss anyone online? All right, moving on, we will call the meeting to order and do a roll call.
David Ackerman,
Aye.
Andrew Canham,
Aye.
David Humphrey,
Here.
Kristen. Here. Sean Kruger,
Here.
Whitney Luchtmeyer,
Here.
Doug.
Yeah, your mic cut out. Doug Hinkle's here.
Tina Titsi,
Here,
Janae Thompsonson,
Here.
Dustin Willett.
Here.
All right, great, thank you. Do have a quorum. First time in a long time, I'm told, that we've had every member here. So thank you everyone for making time out of your schedule and attending today. I'd like to welcome everyone participating on today's meeting and or listening online. The meeting is streaming live on SD.net, a service of South Dakota Public Broadcasting. For the benefit of our online listeners, I request that all participants identify themselves when speaking during the meeting. Participants should also remember to unmute their microphones only when speaking. The meeting is being recorded and the audio will be made available online following the meeting. To find the audio recording online, do a web search for South Dakota Boards and Commissions portal. Follow the link and select the name of the board. Thank you again, everyone, for attending. We'll move on to the agenda here and item number 3, federal updates. We'll start with Aaron.
Yeah, thank you. Again, this is Erin Joyce, EPA Region 8. I just have a couple quick updates. We are updating our regional contingency plan / area contingency plan this year. I think I mentioned this last meeting, but in case not everyone was present, we did update our sub-area contingency plans. They've been posted as of October of last year, so I will put that link in the chat. Those sub areas are by watershed in our Region 8 area. And then my last update is on May 27th. We are partnering with EPA Region 7, South Dakota and Nebraska for an exercise in Yankton, South Dakota. I believe you're discussing this in more detail later, so I'll keep it brief. And that's all from me. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Aaron? On to item number 4, or is there any other federal entities? Should be it. Moving on to item number 4 on the agenda, approval of the December 16, 2025 CERC meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Dustin Willett, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Dustin. Do we have a second?
Doug Hinkle, second.
Thank you, Doug. All those in favor respond by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Perfect. The minutes are approved. Moving on to item number 5, LEPC grant applications. Kelsey Newley.
So yes, our LEPC grants are back on the agenda. And the reason for that is we did have a split of the Hughes and Stanley County LEPC. So they are now individual LEPCs. Since they were approved as a district, but have split and have not been a standalone LEPC that has been active yet, we were not able to split the grant money that was awarded to them. So we will disperse the grant money that was awarded to them throughout the rest of the LEPCs that were awarded their grants. So those LEPCs will keep the same amount of money that they have, but also with an addition to, excuse me, what was split from the Hughes Stanley County LEPC. Hoping that makes sense to everybody. Does anybody have any questions about what we are doing with the grant money?
Hey, Kelsey, our chair, this is Dustin Willett. Can I ask Kelsey a question?
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
Kelsey, on that split, not really pertaining to how you guys handled or how we handled the funding, but I'm just curious, mechanically, do both of those LEPCs look like they'll be active? Do we have folks that are actively building and engaging in both of those?
So I did talk to the Stanley County Emergency Manager, and I did get a roster from them. That was one of the ones that was sent this morning. So they do have an active roster. If they do have bylaws. Hopefully they will meet. I have not yet heard if they have met yet. The split came in January, so that was why we held off on having to send out the grants. And then Hughes County, they were mainly the active ones of the Hughes Stanley County District. So hopefully they do continue to meet. I do need to talk to the Hughes County Emergency Manager to make sure that they are going to continue with the active LEPC.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Right, we don't need a vote or anything on that?
Yes, we do need a vote.
Okay.
So we'll need a vote to approve of dispersing the Hughes Stanley district money. Is that how we want to word that?
Yeah, so basically what it did is every county that was already approved last time, sorry, this is Trish. That was already approved last time is getting the same amount of money that they were approved plus a split or a percentage of the Hughes County money, correct?
Yes.
Hughes stands.
Hughes stands, yes.
All right, do we have a motion then to approve the disbursement of the Hughes Stanley funds?
Ackerman will make that motion.
Thank you. We have a second?
Humphrey, second.
Thank you, Jason. We'll do a roll call vote.
David Ackerman,
Aye.
Andrew Canham,
Aye.
Jason Humphrey,
Aye.
Trish Kent,
Aye.
Don Kruger.
Aye.
Whitney Lichtenmeyer. Doug Hinkle,
I'm abstaining because I'm part of that local LEPC also.
Tina Titsi,
Aye.
Janae Tostinson,
Aye.
Heston Will.
Aye.
All right, thank you. That does pass. Appreciate that. Any other updates in that category? We good?
That is it.
Moving on to item number 6, regional hazmat team update. Mike?
Yeah, Mike Murphy with South Dakota Office of Homeland Security. Been working with the 4 teams consisting of Sioux Falls, Rapid City, Watertown, and Aberdeen. Just kind of getting some updates on equipment and capabilities. And then we will also be participating in an exercise with the South Dakota Incident Management Assistance Team, May 12th through the 14th down in Elk Point that they're conducting. It'll be a focus on hazmat. So our Sioux Falls component and possibly Watertown and Aberdeen will be participating in that as well. So thank you.
Great. Thank you for those updates, Mike. Is there any questions or comments? Moving on to item number 7, LEPC roster review and appointments. Kelsey.
Yep, this is Kelsey. I did send those LEPC rosters last week with a few of them again this morning. Hopefully you guys all got those. So we have 61 designated LEPCs in South Dakota. With that, we had 15 LEPCs that did not submit rosters. Those counties are Aurora, Beetle, Bennett, Bonham, Custer, Falk, Gregory, Hawken, Hamlin, Hutchinson, Jackson, Gerald, Oglala, Lakota, Sanborn, and Union. These counties are not very active and most were appointed last year. They have been appointed mostly because they cannot generate enough interest in the county to have meetings. And then Beetle County, they are in the middle of hiring a new emergency manager. So I did talk to them. They are very close to having that person hired on and they would like to continue to keep their LEPC active. So we will wait until the June meeting for their roster. And then Custer County is also in the middle of a shift for their LEPC with some movements that they want to make throughout the county. So they are still active, but do not have a finalized roster at the moment. And then Bonham also has just hired a new EM and I was not able to get a hold of them. So I will continue to try contacting them to see if we can get a roster from them. If I do not have anything by the June meeting, I will tell them that we would probably like to appoint them if they are not going to be active. And then the remaining LEPCs have submitted rosters for the CERC review and approval. One thing that I want to mention is that the rosters in many cases, one or two of those sectors are not filled. It's clear that they're trying to fill all of that membership sectors because they do have representation for most of them. In some cases, there's a lack of interest from a certain sector. For instance, they may not have a member of the media or they may not have a representative from a regulated facility. Typically, this happens in the more rural counties. So I will ask the CERC to do three things. Review the 46 LEPC rosters provided and vote either to approve, revise, or deny the LEPC membership rosters as submitted. We do have quite a few members that will have to abstain from voting because they are on those rosters. And then number two will be vote on waiting for the three counties, Beadle, Bonham, and Custer to approve at our June meeting. And then finally, when it comes to the 12 counties that have told us they don't have active LEPCs, I asked the CERC to consider appointing individuals to serve as the LEPC. And typically for those LEPCs, we will name the emergency manager, the state's attorney, the sheriff, and the county commissioners, with the chair of the county commission to become the chair of the appointed LEPC. Anybody have any questions?
Hey,
Chair,
Kelsey,
can I-
Kelsey, this is Trish. Can you list for me those 12 counties again that do not have active LEPCs and are not the Beadle, Bonham, and Custer?
Aurora, Bennett, Polk, Gregory, Hawken, Hamlin, Hutchinson, Jackson, Gerald, Ogallala, Lakota, Sanborn, and Union.
Thank you.
Justin, did you have a question?
Just a quick question on math. Do we have enough non-LEPC members that first motion for the majority of the counties can be made with a few of us abstaining, or do we have to chunk it up?
We are split right down the middle, so we have a majority of the quorum able to, right? No, we wouldn't. We are short one, so we will have to do separate votes.
So we could pull out Pennington, Hughes, McPherson, Hand, and Grant
Yes.
and do the remaining.
No, I can vote. I can vote.
Are you on?
Nope,
You're
nope,
not on
nope,
LEPC
not
voter?
because of this, yeah.
Okay,
Then we're
Yeah,
good.
well,
fine,
then
I'm
we
good,
are,
yeah.
we are good to go. We can do one vote.
Perfect. Do we have a motion to approve the reviewed rosters as submitted?
Trish,
Motion by Whitney Lukemire.
All right, we'll go with Whitney. Do we have a second?
Kent.
Okay, Trish is our second. We'll do a roll call vote.
David Ackerman,
Aye.
He's abstaining. Dave, you're on a LEPC, right?
I am on an LEPC, yes.
So he's abstaining.
Andrew Canham,
Aye.
Jason Humphrey,
Aye.
Trish Kent,
Aye.
Sean Kruger,
Aye.
Whitney Lukemire,
Aye.
Doug Hinkle,
I think I got to abstain if Hughes County is involved in that, correct?
Correct.
Tina Titzi,
Aye.
Janae Tostenson,
I'm abstaining.
Dustin Willett.
Abstain.
Thank you. That does have the vote, so that is approved. We need a motion to, do we need a motion to hold off on the 3 till June? Okay, we do need a motion to hold off on the 3 counties until June, our June meeting, and those 3 counties again were Beadle, have the other 2, Bonham, and Custer.
Dustin, so moved.
Thank you. Dustin,
Doug Hinkle, second.
thank you. Do a roll call vote, please.
David Ackerman,
Aye.
Andrew Canham,
Aye.
Jason Humphrey,
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
John Krieger,
Aye.
Whitney Luthermeyer,
Aye.
Doug Hinkle,
Aye.
Tina Tipsy,
Aye.
Janae Tostenson,
Aye.
Dustin Willen.
Aye.
All right, thank you. That motion is approved. The third item under this topic is to appoint individuals to serve as the LEPC. That would include the EM, the state's attorney. Kelsey, what was the others?
Sheriff and county commission.
Sheriff and the county commission. And that includes Aurora, Bennett, Falk, Gregory, Hawken, Hutchinson, Gerald, Hamlin, Jackson, Sanborn, Oglala, and Union counties. We have a motion.
And so moved.
Thank you. We have a second.
Kruger, second.
You do a roll call vote, please.
David Ackerman,
Aye.
Andrew Canham,
Aye.
Jason Humphrey,
Aye.
Chris Kent,
Aye.
John Krieger,
Aye.
Whitney Luthermeyer,
Aye.
Doug Hinkle,
Aye.
Tina Tipsy,
Aye.
Janae Tostenson,
Aye.
Dustin Willett.
Aye.
All right, motion is approved. Appreciate it. Any other items under that category?
That is it.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 8, HMEP grants, training, and the planning report. Rhett, Office of Emergency Management.
Morning, everybody. As you can see, it's a pretty short report, so I'm gonna keep it pretty brief. We've done 2 activities for Cottington County reimbursed, I believe, by now, for their hazmat awareness and operations classes they held for Lake Area Tech first year students. Jumping into, that's only we have for HMP 25. HMP 26, we're right in the middle of the grant application season. Have until April 10th to get their applications into Web EOC. Pretty slow going so far. We only got like 3 different applications, so hoping to get more. I'm going to be sending out a reminder email here soon this week to let them know that get in there and get that done. So that's about all I have for HMP report.
All right, any questions for Rhett? All right, no motions needed, correct? Okay. Item number 9, Tier 2 report submittals. Kelsey.
As a reminder, the tier 2 reports are reports facilities that store hazardous substances are required to file on an annual basis. The reporting threshold for most substances is 10,000 pounds, but the threshold is lower for certain substances. The reason facilities are supposed to report is to ensure planners, responders, and the general public know what is stored in the local community. The tier 2 reporting deadline was March 1st of 2026. And this year it seemed pretty steady. They kept me busy from January all the way until the reporting deadline. Every year we are seeing less and less paper reports, which we're working very hard on getting those facilities to report online. And when they do make the switch, they find it much easier. So we are encouraging all of them to report electronically. As of today, we have received reports from 1,749 facilities. There are still a number of facilities that have not submitted their reports, and I will be in the process of contacting those facilities and reminding them to get their reports in as the deadline has passed. We do have a summarized tier 2 data available to the general public online. And detailed data, including copies of the reports, is available to planners and first responders via password protected website. A lot of those facilities that have not reported yet may be below the threshold, and that's why they haven't reported. So I'll reach out to them to make sure that's the case. And then in the beginning of May, we will begin receiving the toxic release inventory reports. So I will give a report on those at the June meeting. Unless anybody has any questions, that was all I have for that.
Great, thank you. Any questions? Thank you for the good report and all your hard work on that this year. Appreciate it. Item number 10, legislative update. Trish.
Thank you, Tina. Good morning, everyone. This is Trish Kent, South Dakota Department of Ag and Natural Resources. As in previous years, I'm giving you a brief legislative update. This year's legislative session has ended. And while it was a busy session, there were not a whole lot of bills that I pulled out that I thought would be of high interest to the circ. So this is going to be a pretty short report out. If anyone wants more information about any of the bills that I mentioned today, or if you just want to take a look at this year's session bill, go to the 2026 legislative session webpage, which is southdakotalegislature.gov. Again, that's southdakotalegislature.gov. Now, let's get started. By my rough, and to be clear, this is not an official count. By my rough count, there were 571 bills introduced during the 2026 session, 326 of those being House bills and 245 being Senate bills. Starting with some Senate bills of interest, Senate Bill 36 was an act to authorize certain utilities to establish wildfire mitigation plans and associated liability limitations for wildfire damages. First off, let me clarify that I don't know really much about this bill. So my summary that I am giving you, that I glanced through, would have some inaccuracies on it. So if anyone, for example, Doug Hinkle or Dustin know more about it, please feel free to butt in and give your perspective. I glanced through it and it seemed to me that it established a process by which a utility can put together a wildfire mitigation plan. And that plan gets submitted to, I believe, the PUC and reviewed and made available to the public. Then as long as the utility diligently follows the plan, submits annual reports, and works hard to mitigate wildfire risks, it looks to me like it in some ways limits the liability that utility faces should their equipment still start a fire. Again, I am probably oversimplifying and not getting this exactly correct because this is just my interpretation of what I read. But that bill was signed by the governor on March 12th. Dustin, Doug, do you have anything to add?
Oh, I was waiting for Doug. No, that was actually a fantastic summary. The only caveat I'd add to it is at least West River, every utility that we have, whether they're publicly owned as a co-op or whether they're investor owned, already have pretty robust wildfire mitigation plans. So those plans already exist. They obviously have to be run through the PUC, but that was a great synopsis. And if anybody's interested in what those plans say, they already exist and are available online.
Thank you. Doug, comments?
I wasn't involved in the legislation on that, other than it looks like if we wanted to pin or charge a utility, it's going to be tougher to prove in court that they was liable.
All right, thank you. Trish?
Okay. Moving on, the next bill that I want to mention is Senate Bill 37, which is an act to make appropriations for water and environmental purposes and to declare an emergency. Now, this is a bill that a version of it is introduced every year because this is how funds are appropriated for the numerous water project grants and loans that are awarded by the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources and the Board of Water and Natural Resources. What is interesting about the bill this year is that it includes a section that allows the Department of Ag and Natural Resources to use up to $250,000 of funds to contract for statewide cleanup of waste tires and solid wastes, such as firefighting foams that contain PFAS. So based on this, it looks like the department's going to most likely be able to do another PFAS containing firefighting foam collection this year. This bill was signed by the governor on March 24th, 2026. The next one I'm going to mention is Senate Bill 89, and that is an act to create a task force to study the provision of emergency medical services as an essential service and the funding thereof. Again, I don't know a lot about this, but it looks to me like the bill just establishes an emergency medical services funding task force to examine ways to fund emergency medical services as an essential service, to seek input from stakeholders, report out their findings and recommendations. The bill also identified who's going to be on the task force. This bill was signed by the governor on March 25th, 2026. Senate Bill 136 is an act to make an appropriation for grants to support the purchase of personal protective equipment by volunteer fire departments and to declare an emergency. This bill appropriated from the general fund $5 million to the Department of Public Safety for the purpose of providing grants for the purchase of personal protective equipment worn or used by firefighters in the performance of their duties with fire departments in this state that have at least 70% of the firefighters serving in volunteer status. The Department of Public Safety has until June of 2030 to utilize the funds, and that bill was signed by the governor on March 23rd, 2026. Sean is on the fire department. Do you have any comments on that, Sean? Okay. Moving on to House bills. This year I only have one House bill that I'm going to mention, and that is House Bill 1188, which is an act to limit the liability of law enforcement officers and others when removing a disabled vehicle from a highway, a right-of-way, or public waters. This bill had two sections that cover vehicles in public water bodies, such as cars and four-wheelers and boats that maybe get lost through the ice or sink in a lake. And also on highways and in a right-of-way or vehicles that are an obstruction or hazard. If the driver or the person in charge of the disabled vehicle can't arrange for timely removal of the vehicle or the cargo, the Division of Highway Patrol, Department of Transportation, the sheriff, or a peace officer may arrange for the removal of the vehicle and any spilled cargo. The vehicle owner remains strictly liable for all costs, and this bill also helps limit the liability placed on the Division of Highway Patrol, Department of Transportation, sheriff, peace officer, and the removal company. This bill was signed by the governor on March 9th, 2026. And that's kind of the last bill that I'm going to talk about. So like I stated initially, I only chose a few bills to talk about, and I didn't see a whole lot of them that I thought had certain interest this year. But if anyone wants to look at the bills from this year's session, again, go to sdlegislature.gov. I also encourage anyone to look at Governor Roden's website. From there, you can see some press releases about some of the bills that he signed. And you can see his website by going to governor.sd.gov. Again, that's governor.sd.gov. That's it for me. Does anybody have any questions?
Trish, I got a question.
Yeah.
My question's for Doug. You said that that one bill would it'd be hard to pinpoint liability for a utility company for a fire. Why would that be?
Because we'd have to prove negligence upon them, because if they have that mitigation plan, it claims that they can be immune from some, unless you can prove that they was not following their mitigation plan to the code of the letter. So if the utility company comes out and does that mitigation plan, if their utility causes a fire, you'd have to prove that they did something outside of their mitigation plan that caused it before you could charge them for it.
Any other questions or comments? All right, thank you, Trish, for that detailed report. Appreciate you keeping track of the legislative items for us. We'll move on to item number 11, public comment period. I don't see anyone on the screen for public comment, but I will pause and open it up for any public comment. All right, not seeing any, we will move on to item number 12, upcoming exercises. We'll start with Whitney and the Department of Health exercise.
Thanks, Tina. This is Whitney Lichtmeyer with the Department of Health. And yes, we have an upcoming exercise in April. And this is part of our Public Health Emergency Preparedness Cooperative Agreement that we have with CDC. They give us multiple exercise requirements. And this one that we are focusing on is a chemical-based incident. So being the Department of Health, really our focuses and objectives for this exercise is going to be on those public health impacts. So more so our partnerships with first responders, laboratory testing by our environmental and chemical labs at the public health lab, and then countermeasure or antidote distribution in response to a chemical incident. So we are working with Glacial Lakes Energy, the ethanol plant up in Aberdeen. They're going to be kind of the basis or the center of our scenario. And we're doing this in 2 phases. So the first phase of our exercise, and these are both tabletop discussion-based exercises. First phase is going to be more of that local on-site response at Glacial Lakes Energy. So that local response with healthcare, EMS, and then emergency management. So focusing more so on triage, mass casualty, and then transportation. And that one's kind of being run from the sense of our Healthcare Preparedness Coalition and how all of those groups interact during a response. And then the second phase, which is later in April, is more of that state level response, so that higher level with the Department of Health, Danner, OEM, and then the Animal Industry Board. And that one's going to focus on kind of that state level communication and coordination, kind of how we work behind the scenes to support the local response and how we coordinate between our agencies. So this will be the DOH's first go at a chemical response. And it's obviously we're not primary responders to chemical. So we're looking forward to working through the scenario. I'm sure we'll have lots of questions and great discussion, and then learning from our partners and subject matter experts.
What day was that again?
So the first phase in Aberdeen is on Wednesday, April 8th. And then the second phase is on Wednesday, April 29th in Pierre. And if anybody's interested in sitting in, observing, participating, seeing the after action report, happy to include you or share information afterwards.
Great, thank you. Any comments or questions for Whitney? Moving on then to Kelsey, the DANR exercise.
Yeah, so as Aaron mentioned, the Department of Ag and Natural Resources, along with Nebraska, EPA Region 7 and Region 8 are holding a cross-regional tabletop exercise in Yankton on May 27th. Our event is going to be, a tornado goes through town, hitting at least 1 or 2 tier 2 facilities, causing chemicals to spill into the Missouri River, which will then activate both Region 7 and Region 8 for EPA and the South Dakota Department of Ag and Natural Resources and Nebraska for a response. So we will be inviting the county emergency managers to the tabletop, along with the state, local, federal, tribal members, and some of those private industries to come to our exercise. We will be doing the exercise in person, but we will also have a virtual option available to some of those county emergency managers that are not able to travel across the state to make it to our exercise, as we are trying to get a lot of the county emergency managers involved in this, just so that they can also participate, as you know, a tornado is not only significant to one town as it does happen across the entire state. So we are looking to get as many emergency managers as possible to our exercise.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Kelsey or comments?
When was that one?
That will be May 27th.
Right. Moving on to item number 13, other business. Do we have any other business? Kelsey?
Our next CERC meeting will be June 30th at 10 a.m. Central. That will also be online or in person in the Matthews Training Center.
All right, June 30th, 10 a.m. Any other items? Anyone else have any other business?
This is Trish. I suppose I should mention, this is going to be my last CERC meeting. I am retiring beginning of June. So, there will be a new CERC member in a few months.
All right, thank you very much, Trish. You've put in a lot of years of service for state government and the CERC. We appreciate that and wish you the best in your retirement, and certainly you'll have a lot of fun in that. So thank you. Any other business? Okay, calling for number 14, adjournment. Need a motion? Motion to adjourn?
Humphrey, so move.
Thank you, Jason. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations, Trish.
Thank you.
We do a good job with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know where it's gonna be,
The fall one?
No,
Usually that's that is Houston, but they've been moving it around the last couple of years. Which is new. They haven't been moving it around.
What?
It's usually